What's that black spot on the very base of your tomatoes? Well, it's called blossom end rot, and there's a lot of misinformation out there on what causes it and how to fix it. Like putting eggshells on it when you see it. Well, that's just not going to work. Or dropping an antacid tablet in a hole right beside it. Well, that's just a waste of a good heartburn medicine. Or spraying some type of magical spray onto the plant itself, and that's going to cure it too. Well, unless it's filled with unicorn pea and fairy dust, it's just not going to work. In this video, we're going to deep dive into what causes it and how to fix it in a simple, logical method. I'm Greg from Bell's Backyard. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. Well, for me, there's nothing more frustrating than dealing with blossom end rot. I've taken my plants and I've grown them from a seed and I've put them into the soil and I've watched them grow and I've nurtured and I've cared for them and they start to develop their flowers. The fruit starts coming out and then all of a sudden, bang, blossom end rot starts happening. Now, this isn't caused by a fungus or a bacteria. What it's caused from is a lack of calcium in the plant itself. Now, calcium is very important when it comes to developing the cell walls of the particular fruit. What happens is it's picked up by the root system through the xylem, it flows up through the plant, gets delivered to where the tomato is being developed, and then it develops a strong, healthy plant. Without that calcium, the cell walls of the plant itself can't grow correctly, and it causes that blossom end rot. Let's talk about some of the truths and some of the myths. Truth is, your soil probably already has enough calcium in it. If you've ever added compost to your garden, if you've ever raised the pH of your garden soil, if you've ever added a fertilizer that has gypsum in it, or it's an organic fertilizer that says it's made for tomatoes, like the one that I use from Haas Tools, it has 9% calcium already in it. So chances are the soil already has the calcium, it's just the plant can't pick it up. Now, the only way you can truly find out if you have enough calcium or nutrients in your soil is to go to your ag extension office and they'll do a free soil analysis for you. Or you can use a commercial soil analysis company like I did this year. Now, I used a company called RX Soil. What I did is I went on their website, I filled out a questionnaire of what I was growing, how I was growing it, when I was growing it, how big the garden was going to be. Then I paid for it. They sent me this box. It was self-addressed, stamped back to them. I filled it up with soil, put it in a mailbox. About 3 or 4 days later, it came back with not only just the complete soil analysis, but also how to correct it and how to fix it. Now, the reason why I did that, this area here is about 5 open acres that I'm going to turn into a garden. Now, it hasn't been used in 20 or 30 years for anything other than just grass. 30 years ago, it had some cattle on it, but that was it. And it was in horrible shape, and I needed to know exactly what it was. And that's the reason why I used that particular RX Soil company. So to further strengthen my point about your soil probably has enough calcium already in it, once I got the analysis back, it said that I was calcium deficient. But it didn't have any recommendations of me putting calcium into my soil. The reason being is I had to raise the pH with a fast-acting lime. Well, that fast-acting lime already had calcium carbonate in it, which was going to deliver the calcium that I needed for my tomatoes, so I didn't have to add a calcium supplement. Now, when I start prepping my garden and turning it over and adding some amendments like compost to it, I also add a dry fertilizer. It's an organic fertilizer that I use, and it's from Haas, and this is a 543, but it also has 9% calcium already in it. Now, if you look at your other organic fertilizers, you're going to see it may have a calcium percentage in there, or it just may say that it has gypsum, but that is also an indication that you're adding even more calcium into your soil. The number one reason for blossom end rot is irrigation. Now, these plants are going to require 1 to 2 inches of water a week, and I do it infrequently. I'll water Sunday and then I'll water on Wednesday. The best way to prevent a lot of it is just a real cheap rain gauge, so you know exactly how much water the plant's going to be getting. If the plant doesn't get enough water, it's not going to be able to deliver enough calcium for the fruit to develop. Conversely, if you water too often and it gets too much water, it's going to dilute the percentage of calcium that it's delivering to the fruit, and that's going to create the same kind of an issue, and it'll still create your blossom end rot. Now, the second reason could be your pH. Now, the calcium is more soluble between a pH of 6.2 and 6.8. A pH that's a little too high or a little too low, well, it inhibits the absorption level of the calcium into your plant. Now, you can either use one of the liquid test kits you could get at your garden center, or you can use this thing that I've got right here. This is from Leaf Luster. It's just called Rapid Test. It's a very rudimentary soil test, but it's also very accurate when it comes to testing soil pH. So what I'll do is I'll just stick this in the soil at the base of the plant. I'll turn it on and I'll let it set for a minute or two. I'll come back and it's going to tell me if the soil pH is either too high or too low. You can pick these up at any one of your local garden centers also. Another cost could be when you planted your tomatoes. Now, you've seen some of my other videos where I talk about it's better to plant by soil temperature than it is to plant by a calendar. A tomato needs to be planted when the soil temp is above 70 degrees. If you plant a little sooner than that and the soil is a little cooler, it'll inhibit the growth of the root system, and that inhibits the amount of calcium that can get delivered to the plant, and that could cause your blossom end rot. All you can do is just continue doing what we're talking about with proper fertilization, proper irrigation, and then proper maintenance of your plant. Another reason, humidity. Now, the plant moves water through its system by something called transpiration. As the leaves start to evaporate, it allows the water to be pulled up through the root system, through the stems, and then comes back into the leaves themselves. And you're soaking wet. What did you get into? So if it is too humid outside, it's going to reduce the amount of evaporation in the leaves. Now, one thing you can do to eliminate a lot of that is make sure that you keep your plants trimmed correctly so that you get a good airflow and good air circulation, so it allows the evaporation to occur. And secondly, do you remember when we talked about using mulch? If we water frequently instead of watering weekly or bi-weekly and deeply, we're going to keep that mulch moist on the top of the soil, and it's going to create a very humid environment around it. So that's the reason why we want to water at least once or twice, no more than once or twice a week. So that way it'll allow the mulch on the top of the soil to remain dry, while underneath it retains the moisture for the plant to be able to move it up through the plant itself. Another problem is our misconception of using organic fertilizers. Now, with an organic fertilizer, a lot of people think that, hey, I'm going to put the fertilizer down, the plant's going to be able to pick it up, get the nutrients that he needs, and starts growing or start fixing any problem. Well, that couldn't be any farther from the truth. Organic fertilizers need to be broken down. We're basically feeding the soil, we're not feeding the plant, because the soil has something in it called a microbe. Now, that microbe helps in the digestion of the nutrients that we put in the soil, so that it allows the plant to be able to pick it up in the nutrients that he needs. Like, for an example, with calcium, calcium is delivered usually in the form of a calcium carbonate. Now, the calcium carbonate is then broken down from the microbe to a calcium cation. Now, that's going to take a period of time. If the soil is cool, it's going to take an extended period of time. Some tests have shown that it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get calcium broken down. Some of it has shown that it takes a year or more. That's the reason why one of the myths, if you see blossom end rot, grind up some eggshells super fine, throw it on your plant, and it's going to fix it. That couldn't be farther from the truth, because you are delivering an incredible source of calcium carbonate to the soil, but it's not going to be broken down in the window of your plants being able to produce their fruit. Let's say a determinate tomato, like our plum tomatoes we have over here. They have a window between 2 to 3 weeks. If I see blossom end rot, I throw eggshells on it. Those eggshells aren't going to be broken down, at best case, for a calcium cation for maybe 3 weeks or even 4 weeks, past the time where the fruit's already been produced. So it's going to be completely useless. Don't get mad at me. I mean, calcium carbonate from an egg is an incredible source, but it's best to use it in your compost, and don't use it as a solution to fix blossom end rot. So let's talk about that other myth, the antacid tablet at the base of the plant once you see blossom end rot. Antacid is nothing more than calcium carbonate, a little bit of sucrose, and some food dye. It's the same thing as an eggshell. So it's still going to take that 2 to 3 weeks in order for it to break down at best, before it can get that calcium cation into the plant, for that plant to be able to solve its calcium deficiency. Now that we're talking organic fertilizer and microbes for blossom end rot, let's dig down a little bit deeper into this. Sorry for the pun, but the easiest way to get microbes into the soil is aged cow manure or compost. You add it into the soil prior to you bringing your seedlings out and start planting your plants. Once you've done that, it's kind of difficult to get the aged cow manure or the compost deep enough in so that the microbes can get to the base of the roots. There's a company that I found, and it's called AgroThrive. Now, once the plants start to grow, this is the only thing that we're going to be using in our gardens from this going forward. What it is, this is a pre-digested fertilizer. So it's already ready. It's already decomposed, so the plants can start picking up the nutrients immediately. But what it does also is that it introduces microbes into the soil in a solution. So as you're watering your plants and as you're adding the fertilizer to it, it drives it deeper into the soil and it increases that microbial activity. Now, it comes in 2 different types. One of it is called a general purpose, and this is what we use as the plants are coming up out of the soil, or we use it for our leafy greens. But once it starts to produce its flowers, we'll switch over to this, which is their fruit and flower, and it has a little bit more potassium in it. But if you're going to increase your microbes in your soil, AgroThrive is probably one of the best ways that you could do that. So the non-magical, non-hack, non-secret, non-trick way of truly ending blossom end rot is number one, start the soil off correctly, adding compost and adding enough fertilizer that has calcium in it. Number two, if you need to, or if you feel like it, get a soil analysis from a professional soil analysis company so that you know if you're going to have any problems in the future. Number three, make sure that you're watering your plants deeply, infrequently, 1 to 2 inches of water a week, keeping the top of the soil dry. That's going to reduce the amount of humidity around the plant itself. Number three, make sure that you're trimming your plant to get good air circulation to help that transpiration. And number four, make sure that you're adding a good microbial fertilizer so that you have good microbe activity in your soil. I'm Greg from Bell's Backyard. I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.